Hey guys, Nate here with Murray Farm and Ranch, coming to you on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's kind of windy here in Oklahoma, so it's limiting what I can do. And we just had a rain. We had actually rain 2 days apart. Now it's nice and warm, and that is perfect time to get out and look for some mushrooms. Morels are very widespread and they taste amazing. If you haven't ever found a morel, you got to go check, you got to go hunt for them. I wanted to talk for a second about timing. And so timing is important. These mushrooms in general like to grow when it's warm and moist. And so in Oklahoma, we may start catching them at the end of March, and April is a really good month. May can be a good month, and then it's probably gonna taper off in June. And if you think about that, it makes sense. The temperatures start to warm up at the end of March, April for sure, but we get a lot of rain in those months. And so the best times to go are gonna be warm, sunny days, a day or two after a rain. And I just seem to have my best luck in those circumstances. So one of the first things I wanna tell you guys is, in my experience, morels, I find them a lot of times in places where there's a downed elm tree, and it seems like cedar trees are always pretty commonly found. And so, like for example, right here we have this is a downed elm tree. This tree is kind of in the stages of rotting. We have a cedar tree. We have a cedar tree. Got cedar tree, and you get to hunting around, and it's not going to be like this every time, but I did in this case find a morel. I'm going to show it to you. So like I said, we're hunting around. We've got our cedar tree, our downed elm tree, and look at that big guy right there, just barely poking through. That's a big old morel. So when you harvest a morel, you're typically just going to kind of get down and just take it from the base and pinch it off. And I mean, that right there is a giant. So I'm down in kind of a place where there's a lot of canopy cover, and there's a creek bed. And down in here, right behind me is a cedar tree. Right there is some downed elm limbs, and check it out. Right there, boom. A couple of nice morels. Here's another tip. When you find one, always look around really close. Kind of peek around, because where there's one, there's normally 2 or 3 or maybe 10. So always check your area and see if there's more than just 1 or 2 poking through. So another thing about mushroom hunting is whenever you're lucky enough to finally find a batch, remember where you found them, because you can come back to them oftentimes year after year. Morels seem to have a tendency to want to come back, and they, if you can, write it down or use your GPS to drop a waypoint, a lot of times year after year you can come right back and find them. And typically what I'll do is I'll leave 1 or 2, and then I'll take the majority. And I don't know if that helps to improve next year's crop or not, but it's worth a shot. This little mushroom is not one that we're after, but this is growing on a cow patty, and that is probably one of the hallucinogenic varieties, probably. Not what we're after.